What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
This is the OPS pregame report.
We are live from Spartan Arena at Homestead High School for Game 1 of the December 21st quadruple header, with both Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern making the trip up to Spartan Arena. Good morning. I'm Anthony Gery, joined alongside color broadcaster Noah Lancz and sideline reporters Jenna and Dahouk for tip-off of this early morning game, as we are just under 5 minutes away from tip-off. And Noah, this is our first and thankfully only morning game of the year so far. How did it feel getting up bright and early to announce some girls basketball?
It's definitely an adjustment, but we have got a great matchup right now. 4 great games today, both girls and boys. And we started here with a top 10 matchup. It should be a really fun one.
This should be a really fun game, but boy, we have a long and exciting day to go for this whole Homestead Live crew as we now get into the brief OPS pregame show, starting by taking a look at this long day yet to go. 2 separate double headers combined for the complete quadruple header of the day.
These teams are going to be really tired throughout the day, and especially getting up early for this one. But you just look at the matchups. Fishers, Homestead, both top 10 matchups, boys and girls. And then Homestead and Hamilton Southeastern, some more quality matchups. There are going to be a lot of good games, and you're going to want to watch the whole day.
And it's not like those 2 teams that Homestead are playing are going to be well rested, as well as right now Hamilton Southeastern is playing their doubleheader at Carroll, and then halfway through the day, Hamilton Southeastern will come here, and Fishers will travel back up to Carroll High School to play the doubleheader there. So a lot of games in the Fort Wayne area involving these teams. Now let's take a look at the Lady Spartans, and as their win streak continues to build. None of the games besides the first half of South Bend, Washington have been very close, but this day with 2 big games begs the question as to if Coach Parker can keep this dominance up.
And this team has really been hitting its stride lately. You can see they're on a 6-game win streak ever since their only loss of the season, which was against Noblesville, a team that Fishers did beat. But this team is looking really good right now. The one that sticks out is South Bend, Washington, arguably the best win for any team this season. They were the #1 preseason team rated by Sagarin, and they played really well. And then Ayanna Patterson came back and dominated. And in this 6-game stretch, she has been playing so well.
She has been absolutely dominating 3 straight games with more than 30 points, a career high. Incredible dominance by Ayanna Patterson. Well, Homestead's first opponent tonight, Fishers, has had their fair share of success as well. They sit at 10-2 with the key win that the Spartans don't have, and that is a win over the #1 team in the state, Noblesville.
And it's really interesting to see the big win against Noblesville and then a loss against Snyder and Pendleton Heights for Fishers. But that Noblesville one is so huge. Noblesville came here to Fort Wayne like Fishers is today and got a big win, dominant win, 20-plus over the Spartans, where Ashlyn Shea just dominated. And it was interesting to see that Fishers was able to go to Noblesville and have success there. So we may see if Fishers can get it done here. It is early in the morning, but it's their first game, so they won't be as tired as a team like Hamilton Southeastern would be after already playing a game later in the afternoon.
Well, Fishers really took the state by storm by beating Noblesville at Noblesville by double digits. Just a real shocker for that team. And of course, the loss to Snyder, it points out to us as well, because Snyder is in the SAC, and they're a team that is really looking to take that title spot away from Homestead.
and they've already got 2 top 5 wins on the season. It's going to be an interesting matchup when Homestead and Snyder match up because they're the 2 top SAC teams right now.
And now we go down to our silent reporter, Jenna, who's standing by with Coach Parker for a pregame interview.
Thanks, Anthony. So, Coach, the first of 2 tough ones on the schedule today. What do the Spartans need to do well in this morning's game against Fishers to come away with your 7th straight win?
Well, we're going to have to handle their pressure very well. They're going to have a lot of energy on defense, so we're going to have to get into our offensive stuff, get underneath their defense, get Yana established, knock down some shots, and then on our defensive end, it's going to be transitions and rebounding. We just can't give them easy shots and easy scoring opportunities.
All right, thank you. Anthony, back to you.
Well, it always comes down to rebounding. That seems to be the story of every single game. Games are won at the free throw line and getting rebounds off the board. That's just how basketball works. Well, we're going to take our first and only break here on the OPS pregame show. When we come back, it is tip-off of Game 1 out of 4.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
To get you home.
Ooh, I'm gonna eat you up when you go home. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait. I'm just gonna bite you.
Oh, baby, that looks amazing. Marcos, pizza lovers get it.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the .91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead Media's athletics coverage.
Welcome back to Homestead High School for Game 1 of 4 in today's huge quadruple header. As we take now a look at the starting line for both teams.
For Fishers, they've got 3 sisters in the starting lineup. The first is a sophomore, Jordan Smith, who's going to be at 1 guard. And then the other 2 are 2 forwards, Kaylee and Olivia Smith. And then to go with those 3 sisters, they've got 5'5", junior guard, Karina Scott. And then their last player in that starting lineup is center Kate Thomas, 6'1", sophomore. So they've got a younger team, no seniors in this roster.
This is not the first time that we've seen Homestead go against a team with no seniors. We've seen it already 3 times this year. One of those games was against Noblesville. That didn't really seem to phase Homestead. One thing that is keen to look at in that starting lineup is that center Kate Thomas, who doesn't normally start for Fishers, is starting today to guard Ayana Patterson. Noblesville did it with Brooklyn Smitherman against Homestead, and it worked. We'll see if it works for Fishers. So they take a look at the starters for the Homestead Spartans. Nothing's changing. It's going to be the same 5 as always, starting with Emma Royce. The basketball IQ is off the charts. She role plays in every way possible. Molly Stock, the point guard, looking to bounce back with a huge game today. Allie Stevens, who's getting hot. Watch out, Fisher. She's been getting hot from 3, 50% her last 2 games. Maggie Kinsley, senior captain, all smiles. We always say it, she likes to smile. And then the player with all the eyes on her. As always, calm and collective, Ayana Patterson. Coach Rod Parker versus Coach Lauren Votaw, as we now take a look at our keys to the game, starting with Homestead. They got to get off to a fast start to avoid anything potentially getting out of hand early on, and they also have to get Stock back involved in the offense.
And Stock has really been in a scoring drought. She hasn't scored double-digit points since that Carroll game where she had back-to-back against Huntington North, and Carroll she'll look to get back in double digits today.
And Fishers, they've got to get Homestead into foul trouble. Ayanna Patterson, Emma Royce, and Molly Stock are the key figures to look at for getting them into foul trouble. They also have to rebound the ball as Ayanna Patterson continues the streak of winning the tip-off. Every single game she's won. Now the Spartans get to start on offense. Molly Stock early on, three-pointer. Right out of the gates, 3 points for Stock. Fishers on the offensive end. 3 sisters, 2 twins on the basketball court. Scott drives inside on Molly Stock. Air balls collected by Patterson. She tries to avoid getting stolen away. Allie Stevens, deep 3, no good, off the mark and rebounded by Jordan Smith. Kate Thomas working on Patterson, dished out. 3 ball, no good for Haley Smith. Homestead, back-to-back defensive stands. Getting to work on the offensive side. Patterson wide open underneath the basket. Great pass from Molly Stock.
And Molly Stock showing her vision as a point guard, stepping into that role. A great find by her.
Jordan Smith takes the 3, no good, and rebounded by Emma Royce. Emma Royce, a girl that can do it all, averages 4.4 rebounds per game. Offensive side, Allie Stevens for 3, and Homestead is off to an electric start. Fishers forced to call a timeout.
What a start by this Homestead team. 2 quick threes by their 2 shooters. We saw Allie Stevens miss her first 3 from the same spot, but this time she gets it to fall. Coach Barker's got to love this start by his team.
It's almost become Allie Stevens' thing to shoot the ball from 5 feet beyond the arc. Both of her 3-point shots from the same spot, at least 4 or 5 feet beyond the perimeter. Knocks down one of them. It's just part of her game.
It really is, and she can make it from anywhere in the gym. It doesn't matter how far behind the 3-point line she is, but she can make it.
And the officials for today's game, Lynn Blevins, Michael Fuqua, and Nate Perry. Fuqua was here last time at home versus Bishop Bluers for that doubleheader. Quick 3, fired, and knocked down for Karina Scott. She averages only 5.9 points per game, but getting 3 in, and Allie Stevens on the offensive side puts in the shot.
Another great job by Molly Stock to push to the pace and force Fishers to get back on defense. They were lacking there. Then Allie Stevens going up tough with a nice finish.
No fouls early on in this game. Another 3 for Fishers. No good. And called out of bounds off of Haley Smith. Substitution into the game. Alicia Triplet comes in for Jordan Smith. For Fishers, as they just try to get some form of momentum. Homestead continuing to push the pace on offense. Patterson down low in the paint, gets fouled. Clearly on a double team, will head to the free throw line.
And that's what she does so well. If you get the ball down low to her, it's so hard to stop her. So most of the time she's going to get fouled. And in the last game, it took all the way until 1 minute left in the second quarter until she went to the foul line. It's a place where she's improved this year, and she's seen a lot of opportunities.
First free throw good for Patterson. She shoots 75% from the line, especially. That's really good considering she started after 4 games, 50% from the free throw line. Second free throw good for Ayanna Patterson. Homestead up 12-3. Pass stolen by Royce. Stock, fast break, lays it up and in. Stock 5 points, already more than her last game. Smith out. Outside, Fishers can't penetrate this Homestead defense just yet. Harris into the game just recently.
Right now, Homestead is doing a really good job forcing Fishers outside of that three-point arc. Fishers has gotten a few good looks, but other than that, Homestead has been all up in the face of the Fishers players.
Deep three, and knocked down for Talia Harris. Fishers not letting this one get away from them just quite yet. Pass tipped, Patterson holds on, Stock open, three, good! Molly Stock is in fuego right now, and Fishers forced to take another timeout.
That's already the second timeout by Fishers. You see Ayana Patterson finding the open player, Molly Stock for three.
Continuing the streak, Molly Stock on fire.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School as play resumes. Homestead dominant start up 17-6. Ava Carter, one of the newer players into the game for Fishers. They like to go with a deep bench, using as many players as they can, keeping them well and rested. And that's going to be very important today with 2 games.
It really is, and that may hurt Homestead as their bench is not as deep as some of these other teams here.
Triplette shot no good. Homestead offensive side. Pass to Royce, and it gets stolen right out of her hands by Haley Smith. Smith works on Kingsley and puts the ball into the basket. Lead reduced to 9. Royce, Patterson down low, and it's knocked away. Fishers with another chance to attack. Haley Smith, again, 3. Good, knocks it down. Haley Smith on fire, back-to-back possessions, and she is up to 5 points.
And she's the leading scorer for this Tigers team, averaging 13.6 points per game. She's going to be really important in this one and trying to help her team mount an early comeback right now.
13.6 being the leading scorer isn't a lot. It just shows that this team plays as a team quite a lot. Royce, Patterson, Stevens. Fisher's defense is working. Kinsley in the paint outside to Stock. Goes for double digits. No good, too strong. Fishers, a chance to attack again. Down only 6. Smith outside to her sister. No good. Shot left too short. A little bit of a heat check for Haley Smith. Patterson getting it herself and blocked. No foul. Other side, Fishers, 3-pointer no good for Jordan Smith. Patterson, fast break, drives inside, Euro step, lays it in. Ayana Patterson, such a beast at what she does, impossible to guard.
She is so hard to stop coming down in a fast break, and that's what she does so well. Her footwork is so good to avoid the defender. Sometimes she gets in the way and draws a charge, but a great job to evade the defender and get the easy 2.
Talia Harris staying in the game. She has 3 points. Jordan Smith to Harris in the corner, guarded by Homestead's most aggressive defender, Emma Royce. Jordan Smith, pump fake shot. Air ball no good. That's going to be out of bounds on Fisher's. Homestead ball.
Kate Thomas, Olivia Smith in for Fishers.
And to start this game, we've seen Fishers come out with the press, something Homestead has really struggled with, but it really shows you that Molly Stock has grown so much this season as she has not had any pressure with it.
Very notable substitution for Homestead. Ayanna Patterson subbed out of the game. Maggie Kinsley takes a 3, no good. Sydney Freem, the junior, in for Patterson. Inside drive, lobbed up, no good. Talia Harris can't get it to fall. Freem with the rebound. Stock, running point, across the timeline. Pass to Bottoms on the left wing. Freem, corner, Stevens trying to work down low in the post. Swatted away by Ava Carter. Now Patterson back into the game for Homestead. Very short while without Patterson in the ball game. Just a chance to get a little bit of rest with all these games.
And whenever she comes out, the other team has to attack, and that's what the Tigers are going to need to do today. If she ever comes out for a period of time, they're going to need to attack the paint.
Ball tipped and stolen away. Jordan Smith on the fast break, slows it down. Ava Carter to Jordan Smith. Fishers has mounted a little bit of a comeback. They've halted Homestead's offense since the last time out. Is a 3, no good for Ava Carter. Homestead back on offense, and that's going to be off the foot of Ayanna Patterson. Back to Fishers, another turnover.
And ever since the second timeout that Fishers called, Homestead offense has really struggled. They've only scored 2 points after going up 11, and they're just trying to force it to Ayanna Patterson too much. We've seen Emma Royce, now Allie Stevens, both throw it carelessly in Patterson's direction, and they can't force it every time. You have to realize that other players are playing well right now, like Molly Stock.
Molly Stock and Allie Stevens, 8 points, 5 points. Two sharpshooters, sharpshooting early for Homestead. Jordan Smith to Kate Thomas, the center, and that's going to be off of Emma Royce in the paint. Pass intended for Jordan Smith.
And with only 3 seconds left in this quarter, this is one of those times where you run your baseline plays, try to get an open shot. You really need it going into the next quarter, having some momentum as both teams have really been stagnant.
Here we go. Smith shot up at the buzzer and banks off the glass. No good. Homestead up by 8, 19-11, but watch out because Fishers is coming back.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School. Now we're going to send it down to our sideline reporter, Nada Dahouk, who's standing by with the story.
Anthony, these two teams have both made a name for themselves in Indiana over the last decade, but this is the first time they're competing against each other in the regular season. They have met before back in the 2014 Kokomo Regionals where Fishers won, so it'll be interesting to see if they continue the series or even compete against each other later this season again. Anthony, back to you.
And that is the big question. Will these two teams meet again later on in the year? If you asked anyone about a week ago, they would have said no. It's going to be Homestead versus Noblesville, and the winner of that game is probably going to go on to win state, whoever comes out of that regionals. But now with Fishers getting the win over Noblesville, anything seems to be up in the air. This one could go to anybody.
It definitely could, and this could really be a decider for the future of this state championship.
It's going to come down to the Homestead Fishers Noblesville Regional, most likely to win state, but don't count some other teams out like Franklin, who did beat Fishers, or Hamilton Southeastern early on the year, who we will see later today. Olivia Smith, outside shot, no good, and a big rebound attempt, completely swatted out of bounds off of Fishers.
And even though Fishers is undersized, they're really going to have to step it up and play more aggressive. Plays like that where you're going up for rebounds against Ayanna Patterson are going to be really important to come down with.
Stock continuing to run true point guard for Homestead. 8 points. Really good first quarter for Stock, her most points in a quarter this year. Patterson underneath the basket, can't be guarded. Making it look easy. 8 points for Ayanna.
She is really just too tough to handle when she gets it down low. You cannot allow any entry pass to get to her down there. And if you do, you have to triple or double, where she's really learned how to pass it out and find her open teammates.
Well, another substitution for Fishers. Julia Munkholm into the game. I believe that is almost every single player on the roster except for Grace Fisher, and Morgan Roberts has come into this game already for Fisher. So showing off their very deep lineup.
With a day like today where you're going to have so many games, it's going to be really important to play more and more players. The game is not going your way. You may sit your starters for a longer period of time than you normally would.
Wild shot put up, no good for Jordan Smith. She falls on the ground and steps on the out-of-bounds line while on the ground. Homestead ball. Right now, the shooting seems to all be going Homestead's way. 50% from three, whereas Fisher's is only 30% and 24% overall from the field.
And that really tells you a story of this game. Molly Stock has come out firing in this one, and it's got the Homestead Spartans out to a double-digit lead early on.
How about that hustle from Molly Stock, keeping the ball as Patterson gets fouled by Olivia Smith. First, only second personal foul of the game overall. Fishers with 2, Homestead with 0. So one of the key things we said for Fishers to win this ballgame was to get Homestead into foul trouble, and right now Homestead does not have a single foul on the board. Stevens in trouble. Royst bottoms, and Homestead's going to try to reset with Patterson at the top of the key. Patterson, free throw line, jump shot, and good double digits for Ayanna Patterson once again. She hasn't had a game where she hasn't been in double digits since her sophomore season before COVID was even a pandemic.
And adding that jump shot to her game has been really important. It hasn't been too consistent, but it's been a great addition. If she can get a real jump shot and hit 3, she would become unstoppable.
And she's going off to UConn after her high school tenure is over. And you know they'll teach you how to use a jump shot over in Connecticut. Homestead continuing these long defensive stands, not really playing the fast pace they want. Smith, no good with the shot. Patterson on the fast break gets stolen. Wide open lane, a beautiful pass, and the layup no good, but what a pass from Olivia Smith. Fast break, pull up, jump shot, no good for Allie Stevens. Patterson with the offensive board. First shot no good, second shot it's in. Ayanna Patterson beasting underneath the basket.
And something she does so well, getting her own miss and getting it to go in after that. She has been so good at getting her miss and just converting on second chance points.
What a delight it is to watch Ayanna Patterson in this ballgame. Three-pointer, it's good for Karina Smith for Fishers. Not quite leaving this game just yet. 11-point lead for Homestead. Stevens, Royst steps in. Stevens tries to drive inside, lays it up. No good. Offensive board. Dribble, and no good on the layup. Fighting for her own rebound. Patterson gets it, and that's going to be a jump ball. Possession arrow stays with Homestead.
And Allie Stevens has been so good today with getting her rebounds, and she has been really aggressive ever since that Carroll game where she sat for an extra period of time where you wouldn't expect her to. She has been hustling more than anybody else on the court, and it's been showing today.
Patterson gets the inbound and fouled immediately underneath the basket. She'll head to the free throw line where she's already made 2 tonight. Third foul on Fisher. Still 0 fouls for Homestead.
And this game, compared to a few in the past, has been really clean. Like you said, only 3 fouls total, and the only player in foul trouble in this one is Alicia Triplett, who has 2 already, but she isn't a starter. And right now, Homestead is looking really good overall, both offensively, defensively, no foul trouble, hitting their shots.
Second free throw for Patterson is good. She's right on the money with her percentage. 75% on the season, 75% today. Fishers on offense, trying to force their way back in this one, ranked 6th in the Sagarin ratings. Olivia Smith, layup, no good, gets her own board. Shot, and fouled by Molly Stock. First foul in Homestead, Alicia Triplett getting to go to the line.
That's something that if Fishers wants to get back in this game, they're really going to have to get players in foul trouble, go to the foul line.
And a little bit of a special note, especially for Ayanna Patterson, is, well, UConn coach Gino is here in the stadium for Homestead. There he is on the screen. He's here to watch his recruit, Ayanna Patterson. That is one of the best coaches in sports history, the UConn women's basketball coach.
It's really crazy to see him here at Fort Wayne, Indiana, but Ayanna Patterson is showing why she's so good today. Already 6 rebounds and 13 points.
Stock trapped, has to get it away, and Coach Parker calls a timeout. He is not happy over on the sideline. None of the players coming to help out Molly Stock.
And when a player gets trapped on your team, you have to go over and help that player out. Molly Stock, a lot of times this season, has got trapped in the corner by picking the ball up. She needs to learn from that a little bit more, but more importantly, players need to go help her out. You cannot let your teammate get stuck in a corner and you be at fault.
Homestead with a 12-point lead, but Coach Parker, he's a coach that plays till the very last second. It doesn't matter who's up with how much time left. It doesn't even matter if his team is up by 50 points. He will be mad if his players make an error and don't play basketball the way he wants it to. Patterson to inbound for Homestead. To Kinsley. Handoff. Patterson. Back to Kinsley. She tries to drive inside. Loses her handles and gets fouled on the shot attempt by Ava Carter.
And more recently than ever, Maggie Kinsley has been really aggressive. She's been going to the foul line a lot. Going into the Wayne game, which was one of the first 3 games of the season, she was not shooting it well from the foul line, but on the season, she's now at 69%. She's improved a lot from there.
With that shot probably going to 50% or 70%. Second free throw probably drops her back down to 69%. Fast break. Fishers. Jump shot. 3. Morgan Roberts puts it in the basket. She just came into the game and now has 3 points.
And if Fishers wants to get back in this one, they have to hit their open shots. That's a huge bucket for them right there, and they're going to need to continue to do that over and over.
Stevens, pump fake, and turns it over. Fishers on offense. Olivia Smith, stolen by Kinsley. Fast break for Kinsley. She'll try to make a play. Euro step, layup, and into the basket. Maggie Kinsley with 3 points. Talia Harris also back into the game for Fishers. Morgan Roberts guarded by Patterson right now. Homestead playing their man defense.
It's been working really well. Fishers has been 5 of 12 from behind the arc, but 1 of 11 for their 2-point shots. They've really struggled there, and it just shows you Ayanna Patterson, Emma Royce, Molly Stock, they're so good. Ayanna Patterson mainly in the paint with those 2-pointers. It's so hard to score against her, but they need to keep on finding those 3-point shots. They're only 1 shot less than 50%, so they've been doing pretty well from there today.
Those are the big 3 defensively. Stock, Patterson, and Royce. Is a deep 3 attempt taken by Olivia Smith. Patterson can't get the offensive board. She gets a hand on it. Fishers staying on offense. Free throw line, jump shot, no good. Fishers keeps it up offensively. Olivia Smith drives inside and lays it in. What a stand by Fishers. Out rebounding Ayanna Patterson. and getting 2 points, cutting Homestead's lead down to 10. Patterson underneath the basket, goes beast mode, lays it in. Ayanna Patterson knocks it down. Homestead back up 31-19.
She's already at 15. She scored 20 points every single game this season and 30 in the last 3. She was well on pace for that.
Turnover by Fishers. Emma Royst across the timeline, Stock with 8 points. She's been quiet since the first quarter. Royst to Patterson. Kinsley dips her shoulder pump fake. Stock, deep 3. No good, and rebounded by Fishers. Talia Harris drives on Royst and can't put up a good shot. Royst had a little bit of a hand on it. Kinsley trying to push the pace a little bit. 36 seconds left. Patterson at the free throw line. Outside, Royst, 3. No good. Offensive board for Kinsley. She lays it up. No good. Stevens collects and fouled on the shot. 22 seconds left in this ball game. A little bit of dirty basketball going on right now.
And it's really been offensive rebounds lately for both teams. Homestead, they're getting 3 opportunities to score, and Allie Stevens in this one, 5 points. She started pretty well, just like Molly Stock, but neither have been playing as well as they did in the first quarter in the second one. But those second and third chance points have been really important for both teams, and it's really what Homestead has been able to get their lead off of.
So a lot of substitutions, too many to read off, but the lineups are changing for both squads. Since Coach Gina Oriema has come to the game, Patterson hasn't really been playing her best basketball, and possibly a little bit of nerve seeing her future coach at the University of Connecticut here in the building. Jordan Smith crosses the timeline. Fisher's probably holding for the last shot. 15 seconds. Smith drives to Patterson, and she is fouled. Clearly a reach-in foul called on Patterson. That is going to be Homestead's only their second foul. Nothing too much to worry about, only Patterson's first. Here we go, take 2 for Fishers. Jordan Smith. 5 seconds. Haley Smith dribbling. Has to take the shot, and it's stolen away by Evie Bottoms. They're going to call that a half. And now we'll set it down to the sideline reporter, Jenna Lane, who's standing by with Coach Parker.
Thanks, Anthony. Coach, so hot start offensively for Homestead, getting you out to this 14-point lead. What did you like about the way that Homestead played in this first half?
Well, I liked our energy, and we were really good in the first quarter. Defensively, I thought we did a pretty good job rebounding the basketball, except for one possession. I think we gave up 6-0 boards at one time. But, otherwise, the energy's been good. I think we're moving the ball pretty well, and we just got to come out and make sure we can play 60 more good minutes of basketball.
Right. Thanks so much. Good luck. Anthony, back to you.
Thank you, Jenna. And there still are 3 halves left to play tonight. But at the end of the first half of the quadruple header, Homestead girls lead over Fishers 33-19.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
To get you home.
Ooh, I'm gonna eat you up when you go home. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait. I'm just gonna bite you.
Oh, baby, that looks amazing. Marcos, pizza lovers get it.
Marco's Pizza, located at 10345 Illinois Road, inside the shops of Scott Road. Thank you, Marcos, for supporting the Point 91 FM and being a proud sponsor of Homestead Media's athletics coverage.
This is the OPS Halftime Report.
Welcome back to Homestead High School as we now take a look at our stats from the first half. Mostly going to be in Homestead's favor, and there it is. 46% from the field to 29%. And now, surprisingly, both tied at 38% from three. It was a little bit different than what we saw earlier in the game.
And Homestead's defense has been so good to start this game. You see 29% from the field. You never want to see that as a coach if you're on the Tigers team. But Coach Parker, he talked about it. He loved the energy that his team came out with. They started really well, finished the half well, and that's why their lead's all the way to 14. And then we talked about in the pregame, you win games at the free throw line in rebounding, out-rebounding the Tigers by 9 rebounds already and 6 more made free throws than them. It's been a great start for the Spartans.
And really, it's just been about getting to the free throw line. Fishers only went to the line 1 time in that first half versus Homestead's 4 times. That's going to hurt. When you can't get those free points, you have to attack the basket and be a lot more aggressive if you're going to get some easy points.
And Homestead attacked the basket more and more at the end of that first half. And the other side, it was Fisher shooting a lot of threes in that one. They've got to make some more threes. They did a good job to start. They cooled off towards the end, and Homestead's defense just was everywhere.
And a lot of being everywhere, being underneath the basket, getting the rebound. Coach Parker said they allowed probably 6 offensive boards on 1 possession, but besides that, if you take out those 6, Homestead would be beating Fishers 21-6 in the rebounding game, and that has just been detrimental to the Tigers.
And it's been Allie Stevens and Ayanna Patterson who have been rebounding. Them combined have 11 out of the 21 rebounds, almost as many as Fishers. And Allie Stevens has really stepped up with her hustle and rebounding lately. It's shocking to see her nearly as many as Patterson just because she's not as tall. Patterson is usually in the paint, but it just shows you how much she has been hustling.
And now we're going to take a look at our SAC headlines, starting with, wow, Panthers' Aiden Lambert dropped 51 points in the Character Classic, the Champions of Character Classic at Grace College. That is an incredible performance, to say the least.
And he has been on a breakout season this year. He already had 40 points earlier this year. And we talk about players outscoring another team, but not when a player drops 51 points. This season, he's had 8+ dunks in a game and 8 threes in a different game. He can do it all, and he's having a great season.
It's going to be a fun trip at Spartan Arena when Snyder comes to town. I feel like we talk about it every single live stream, but the boys are showing some promise this year, and we already know that the girls are pretty good. They have a win over Fishers, who Homestead's beating at the moment.
And
our next SAC headline is, well, there's only 3 unbeaten teams remaining after 2 games. After only 2 weeks, Concordia, Homestead, and Southside are the only unbeaten teams in the conference.
And there's only 7 games left for the boys in this conference. A great start by these 3 teams. Concordia, Johnny Washington, he has been great this season. We talked about him and Aiden Lambert both scoring 40 points earlier this season, the same week. And Homestead, of course, led by Fletcher Lawyer. They've played really well, but they're coming off of a loss. We'll see how they bounce back today. And Southside, always one of those teams in the top 5. They've had another great season.
Southside, a little bit of a surprise this year. Same with Concordia. Homestead is looked to be the clear number 1 in the conference, but you can't count out teams like Northside, who just beat Snyder, and Snyder, even though they just lost to Northside, both very athletic and very quick teams that could really challenge Homestead.
And it's really been crazy to see all the teams that have won and lost, teams you wouldn't expect to lose to someone like you mentioned, Northside, getting a big win. You wouldn't expect them to win over a team like that. but it's just showing you that any team can lose on any given night.
Well, Northside, led by Bronte Johnson in that game, went 30 and 20, 31 points, 20 rebounds. I mean, if a player does that, you don't lose. You just cannot lose if a player drops 30 and 20.
And he's known more for his football skills, a 4-star wide receiver, but showing it on the basketball court, he is so good.
A true athlete Bronte Johnson is. And while on the girls' side, there's still 2 teams remaining in the top 20 of the Coaches Poll. Homestead at number 3, Snyder at number 18 in the Coaches Poll, and that was released yesterday. These 2 teams meet on that big date, January 14th.
And that's going to be a really fun game. Probably going to decide the SAC, as these 2 girls teams have been so good this season. Homestead only lost coming against Noblesville, and Snyder has 2 top 5 wins this season. Both have been really solid, and it's going to be a fun matchup January 14th.
And now let's take a look at our SAC standings just to look at how important this game is. 2 undefeated teams left in girls basketball. Homestead at 5-0, Snyder at 3-0. Everyone's gearing up for that day. Everyone. We cannot talk about it enough. January 14th, mark your calendars. That's when Snyder's coming to town.
And Snyder will eventually catch up in games played, as Homestead you can see 5-0, 3-0. But watch out for Northrop. They've got the Jackson sisters, and they could make a run if they can beat both Homestead and Snyder and just see what they can do in the SAC.
And you can really see the gap between the top 3 and the rest. Homestead absolutely obliterated Carroll, and they're still standing at number 4. But don't forget the Jackson sisters from Northrop, as you mentioned, and then Snyder, a really good team. But all eyes are on Homestead High School.
And when you have a player like Ayanna Patterson, all eyes are going to be on her and the school she goes to. She is so good. She's dominating the SAC this season, and she's had a great season.
Well, the question's going to be, can anybody guard Ayanna Patterson in the SAC? No one has been able to yet. The only person that's really been able to pose any form of defense on Ayanna Patterson was Brooklyn Smitherman, the junior center on Noblesville, who took care of Ayanna in the first half of that Noblesville game. But besides that, Ayanna's a beast, and no one is going to stop her. And we'll see if that beast gets to work when we come back. 33-19, Homestead leads at the half.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.
Welcome back to Homestead High School, and it is time for the second half of play between Homestead and Fishers. Olivia Smith for Fishers to inbound the ball. Fishers not out of this ball game just yet. 14-point game. Homestead looking to run away. Olivia Smith to Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith trying to work inside, puts up a beautiful layup for her first points of the game. Oh, and here it comes. Here comes the press by Fishers. Looks like it's going to be Karina Scott running the press against Homestead. Lady Spartans haven't really done very well against the press early on. Maggie Kinsley throws up a jump ball for Patterson. Doesn't really work. Olivia Smith flip side layup. No good. Offensive board for Fishers. Corner, Karina Scott, guarded by Molly Stock. Swiftest player on the basketball court. Enough to say about that.
And coming out of this half, Fishers is going to really have to find a rhythm. They got some good opportunities and a great start on offensive and defensive side. Not able to get the easy layup, but the offense needs to find their rhythm.
Great steal by Emma Royce. She slows down the pace. Stock evades the trap, and Stevens, who completely fouled by Jordan Smith on the pump fake.
We've relatively had a clean game in this one. That starting an early foul, we only saw 5 fouls in that first half. It's been overall clean. Don't want it to get chippy.
Never want a game to get chippy. We love the competitive spirit, but not when it involves some physical damage. Royce, wide open 3, and she'll knock it down. There was no doubt about that shot. Emma Royce, actually the best three-point shooter on Homestead statistically, 1 for 2 today.
And that's what Ayanna Patterson has done so well these past 5 games during the win streak, even past 6. She's been able to draw so much attention that she just kicks it out, finds the open player, and she's getting a lot of assists off of that.
Patterson guarding at the top of the key. Homestead continues to stay in man defense. They haven't really imposed their trap zone defense a lot this game. They like to throw teams off guard with it. Haven't really seen it yet. There hasn't really been much of a need because of the man working well. Open 3, left way short. Offensive board. Kate Thomas. Outside 3-pointer, no good for Jordan Smith. Another offensive board. And swatted. Blocked by Allie Stevens. Ball on the ground. And a jump ball called. Possession is going to go with the Homestead Spartans. And Maggie Kinsley will inbound it against the press by Fishers.
And Fishers started with a press, but now they're bringing it even more, putting it on an inbounder to start for the Homestead Spartans, bringing the ball up. We'll see how Homestead adjusts to it.
Molly Stock will need to practice against the press if Homestead and Noblesville are to meet again. That Ashland Shade press is unstoppable. Allie Stevens left open and leaves the 3 ball short. Fisher's back on offense. Homestead still in man. Quiet Jim. Kate Thomas in the corner tries to drive in on Patterson. That is not a smart option, dishes it out. Fisher's not doing much offensively. Trap and a travel forced and called. Kate Thomas took an extra step. Ayanna Patterson, too much for her to handle.
And after a good first possession to start off this half, the Fisher Tigers have not been able to do anything for the past 3 minutes in this one.
Patterson beasting underneath the basket. Coach Gino pretty happy about that one. 17 points for Patterson, 3 more to get another 20-point game. Another steal by Emma Royce. Stock in transition. Patterson down low, and she's pushed hard. Said we don't want to get things chippy, but ooh, it's getting a little ferocious down low.
That's always a scary sight to see, especially for Coach Parker, your best player, taking a hard hit to the ground, but she gets up right away, and she's just continuing her dominant play right now.
Stock to inbound. Shot no good. Rebounded by Fishers. Talia Harris on the left side. And another travel called on the Lady Tigers. That one, Alicia Triplett. Molly Stock crossing up on Jordan Smith, gets across the timeline. Royce to Kinsley underneath, jump ball for Patterson. And they're gonna call contact, no travel, and a layup. 19 points for Patterson of Homestead's 40. Haley Smith has been pretty quiet. Still only 5 points that she got in the first quarter. As that foul's gonna go against Homestead on Maggie Kinsley, her first foul.
And almost all of this Fishers team has been really quiet. Like you mentioned, Haley Smith got 5 points in the first quarter, but that came back-to-back possessions for the Tigers, and she has not been able to do anything ever since then. And it's just showing Homestead's dominance. They've only had one bad game this season, and that was against Noblesville. Nothing else has been really close. And you would think the number, you have a top 10 matchup here, number 3 Homestead Spartans versus number 9 Fishers. It would be much closer, but it's getting close to a 20-point lead already.
Stock is across the timeline. Fishers is using their entire team. They have unloaded their whole bench. A lot of players scoring a lot of points. Down low, Bottoms. Trap gets a swat out of her hands, and she loses the basketball. Too much for her to handle. Fishers, open. 3. Way too strong, and out of bounds off of Ayana Patterson. Karita Scott doesn't step out of bounds. Kinsley with the hand on the basketball. Back up top to Leah Harris, to Haley Smith.
In this whole game, it hasn't really looked like Fishers has been able to settle into their offense, and it's really just been showing how good the Spartans defense has been, especially today, showcasing their full abilities. They average allowing 40 points per game and score 65, and they're well on their way to beating those numbers.
Maggie Kinsley fouls, going for the steal. Her second foul, she'll stay in the game. These have been very long offensive possessions for Fishers between the numerous offensive rebounds that Fisher has had over the last couple of possessions, and just the fact that Homestead's not allowing any open shots. Just led to a lot of time being taken off the clock. Triplette tries to get down low and hit out of bounds off of Molly Stock.
Molly Stock, we've talked about her so many times. She's so aggressive on defense. Her and Emma Royce are those two especially aggressive, and they have done a good job not picking up fouls. Molly Stock is the only one with one out of those two.
Well, I'll tell you what, Haley Smith says, I don't want to wait anymore. I'm going to try to score. And Ayana Patterson says, no. Euro step, Ayana Patterson makes it in, and she has 21 points. Every single game this year, she has had 20 or more, and that is why she's the best player in the state of Indiana. 3-point shot, no good. Board for Patterson. Her 7th rebound. Ayana getting tied up, and they'll call a foul on Haley Smith. And look at this. All 12 games this season, Ayana Patterson has had 20 or more points. The last 3 games, she's had 30 or more. Right now at 21, only with 9 more to go to get 4 games.
And she has been so good all season, especially lately. She's really hitting her stride, and it's going to be really important today. 2 really good matchups and back-to-back.
Deep 3 for Stock, and it goes in. Molly Stock waking up once again. She took a little bit of a nap from the first quarter, but she's back with 11 points.
And those are her first points since the first quarter. She scored 8 and got this team going to start the game, and ever since then she went 0 for 2 from 3, but then she's getting that one to go from deep. Her and Allie Stevens are so good from behind the arc.
Timeout taken by Fishers. Another timeout forced. Fishers' 3rd timeout used today. Now they'll take a break. We'll take a look at some of our stats. Homestead up above 50% from beyond the arc. A lot better than their yearly percentage of 48%. 4% doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is. Compared to Fishers, who's just having trouble putting the ball anywhere near the basket. They average 44% on the season. Right now, they're 23.
And for Homestead, it's only been getting better. Fishers, it's only getting worse. The field goal percentage is going in opposite ways, and Fishers has missed their last 5 3-point attempts. They started 5 for 12, pretty good, but missing 5 straight's really going to hurt you. They've only scored 4 points in this 3rd quarter.
This 3rd quarter really is not going Fishers' way, not the comeback that they wanted. However, the rebounding game really is working out pretty well for Fishers. There haven't been a lot of turnovers in this game. Only 7 for Homestead, 5 for Fishers. Not what we're used to seeing. There's just been a lot of holding the basketball.
And the most interesting part about that was the rebounds. You mentioned it a little bit, but right now Homestead getting out-rebounded in this quarter 6-3. They had a 9 rebound advantage going into half, but now it's only 6 rebounds.
Spin move, no good. Kinsley on the rebound, her 4th today. Royce caught in the corner. Kinsley jump shot, left awfully short between Freem's legs. Open 3, wide open. Morgan Roberts, no good, and off out of bounds on Allie Stevens.
That's where Fishers has struggled. They cannot buy a shot right now, and they're most likely not going to get back in the game because of that. Homestead 50% overall, and they've made more than double the amount of field goals than Fishers.
And that's really the story of this ball game. Homestead almost double a Fishers score right now. Ayanna Patterson out of the game, probably just resting until the 4th quarter. Pump fake, shot, good swish for Allie Stevens, up to 9 points. 17 seconds left. Fishers holding for the last shot. Royce wants nothing to do with it, pressuring. Harris, inside and 1 for Talia Harris. Lays it in and heads to the free throw line.
It's not often you see Emma Royce get blown by, and she did right there. It's a little bit because of the screen, but either way, that was her assignment right there. Evie Bottoms is the one that gets called for the foul, but maybe that can give the Tigers some momentum going into the last quarter.
A lot of approval from the Fishers bench, blowing past Emma Royce, who isn't really having her best game defensively. Second free throw good for Talia Harris. 3 seconds left. Kinsley inbounds to Patterson. Not much time left. She's going to heave one up. 3-pointer, and it's an air ball. Patterson, no good, but Homestead controlling this ball game entirely. They lead 47-26 at the end of 3. Welcome. Welcome back to Homestead High School. As we get set for the 4th quarter, 47-26, Homestead leads at the end of 3.
And Fishers is going to have to really do a good job in this quarter. They struggled in that 3rd quarter, only scoring 7 points in the whole quarter.
Fishers on offense to start. Jordan Smith at the logo. Harris, open and wide open 3. Here we go. No good for Ava Carter. She's made a 3 earlier in this game. Can't make her second one. Another 3-point shot, and that's good for Jordan Smith. Fishers taking some wild 3-point shots, trying to find their way back in. If they want to come back in the 4th quarter, they'll have to make their 3s.
And what a tough move right there by Jordan Smith. Across back, step back shot right there on Emma Royce, one of the best defenders, and getting it to go down. They're going to have to hit those.
Ayanna Patterson trying to take a 3, no good. She's 2 for 4 on the year, only her 4th attempt. Ball on the ground, and a jump ball is going to be called. Possession arrow goes in the Spartan favor.
Jump ball. Alternating possession ball belongs to Homestead.
7 turnovers for Homestead, 6 for Fishers. A little bit surprising seeing Homestead having more turnovers than Fishers with an 18-point lead.
And Homestead averages 12 turnovers on the season. It was earlier at 14, but they've done a really good job to pick that up. And Fishers averaging 15 turnovers per game on the season. Both teams have done a really good job keeping the ball clean.
Substitutions. Fishers keeping their lineup nice and fresh as they travel up to Carroll High School after this ball game. Kinsley on the ground, and that's going to be a jump ball, this time going with Fishers.
And she is one of the captains on this team. Maggie Kinsley never scared to dive for the ball, and she does so well at drawing those jump balls. She probably leads the team, but that's just because of the player she is. She's a leader, a hustler. Fisher still really unable to find their way on the offensive side. They've been able to get a nice quick 3, but like the third quarter, this fourth quarter, they got 1 shot to go and since then haven't been able to.
Open 3 attempt, and off the top of the backboard. No good for Kate Thomas. Fast break. Royce lays it up. No good, and out of bounds off of Fishers. Thomas went up for the rebound.
A little bit of inexperience being showed there by Emma Royce, being a little timid going up with it, and you'd like to see her go up with her left hand if you're Coach Parker. Just try and throw it up with her right, but Molly Stock doing a good job to find her.
Stock. Royce open in the corner, stays in bounds. Kinsley in the paint. Outside. Stevens doesn't have the shot. Patterson down low over to Kinsley. Assisted. Beautiful pass and vision by Ayanna Patterson.
She draws so much attention, double and triple teams. She just got to do what she did there, find the open player. She's done it really well lately.
Jump shot, no good. Rebound for Royce, her first rebound of the game. Stock crosses over to Stevens. Stock in the corner. 3, no good. Kinsley with the offensive board. Stock, pump fake. Tries again, lays it up, no good, and offensive board, or defensive board for Fishers. Haley Smith, cross half court, 5:22 left, 3-point shot, high and over the backboard. Homestead ball.
Still unable to buy a shot. They got their first 3 to go in this quarter, but ever since being 5 of 12 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter, Fishers has gone 1 of their last 10. That just shows how this game has been going for them and why the lead has gotten out so big for the Spartans.
Stock. Cross half court. And turns the ball over. Harris. Fast break. Outside. Underneath the basket. Guarded by Patterson. And swatted away by Patterson for her second block. Ayanna trapped and called out of bounds off of Fishers.
And Ayanna Patterson right there calling for her teammates to come help her. We saw Molly Stock in the first half get it stuck in a corner and be unable to find anyone. And that's exactly what happened right there to Ayanna Patterson. Players just got to help you out if you ever pick the ball up.
Stock crosses half court. Make sure she doesn't cross before cutting back. Smart play. Royce's pass swatted away, and she's called for the reach-in foul. And Coach Parker wanting Royce to make an attempt at the basket. Royce, one of the least aggressive players on Homestead, more of just the role player role. Coach Parker wants her to start getting more involved offensively.
And she's really a good shooter. We mentioned it earlier, the best 3-point shooter on the team. She just doesn't have as many attempts as other players, and that's because she's a sophomore, more inexperienced. But next year, in developing into her role, she'll get more and more comfortable and shoot more and more.
Especially without Ayanna Patterson, next year's going to be all about the shooting for Homestead. Fake pass, delivery, inside layup, no good. And offensive board for Fishers. And they'll call off of Haley Smith as she tried to recover Royce got a hand in there, making up for her turnover on the last possession.
Called by Homestead.
Homestead calls timeout, and now at the end of almost 4 quarters, about halfway through the fourth, Homestead up by 20. Welcome back to Homestead High School as we take a look at our game stats, and it just keeps getting worse and worse for Fishers as they have now dropped to 21% from the field.
Going into halftime, they were at 28% from the field and shooting 38% from behind the arc. Both teams have struggled from behind the arc recently. Homestead also 38% from 3 going into half, but that percentage, overall field goal percentage, that is, has improved from 48 up to 50. They're continuing their strong play. The turnovers are coming more consistently this quarter, more than the past, but overall a good game for the Spartans.
Fishers is coming back in the rebound game, but just not in the points game. Stock. Cross half court. Trapped on the wing. Kingsley drives inside, lays it up, open shot, no good. Crossing half court, layup, and no good for the and one. Olivia Smith trying to get it. She'll go to the free throw line. And props to Fishers. They're playing up until the very last minute of this ball game. They're not resting at all, still pushing it against Homestead.
And for Fishers, you'd expect both of the Smith sisters to have better games than they have been. They're the 2 leading scorers for the Tigers. Haley Smith, 13.6 points per game, and then Olivia Smith, who's at the line right now, 9.9 points per game, but that is only the 3rd point for Olivia Smith. She'll try to get to 4, and her sister has 5 points. Really quiet nights, and that's just a detriment to this defense of the Spartans.
Instead, starting 0 for 2 from the free throw line, Fishers has made their last 4 attempts, and now their last 5 attempts. So despite being down 18 to this Homestead team, there have been some bright spots for Fishers. Their bench has stepped up quite a little bit going against Homestead, and from the free throw line, they're looking pretty solid.
Free throw and rebounding, they've been doing better, but they just cannot get a shot to go. Their shot percentage has only gone down and down. Everything else seems like it's been going up, but Homestead defense has been too good. They have not been able to settle into an offense, and Fishers has not been able to hit an open shot.
Royce with an unclean pass turns it over. Fishers back on offense. Jordan Smith crosses up. Stock gets a hand on it. Karina Scott to Roberts. Jordan Smith this time. Open 3 and no good for Haley Smith. Homestead's defense unable to just get penetrated, and a shot up and good for Morgan Roberts. Puts the ball in, only a 16-point lead for the Spartans.
And coming down the stretch, Molly Stock, Emma Royce, the 2 guards of this team, are going to have to play really well, have a lot of clean passes.
Patterson lays it up and in for 23 points. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. Homestead up by 18.
And with Patterson getting to 23, it kind of seems like she's been having a quiet day. She got to 15 points in that first half, and she's up to 23 now, 10 of 14 overall, and that just shows you how good she is. That seems like a bad game for her.
I think a lot of it has to do with the way that Fishers is playing. They're taking really long on the offensive end. There's not a lot of time for Patterson to score. Stevens with the 3 in and out. Board by Haley Smith. She's been all over the place on the rebound game in this second half. Timeout taken by Fishers to get some substitutions into the game, and Homestead will do the same. High fives all around for Homestead as they lead by 18.
Will be a full timeout.
And had this game been closer, the timeout may have been timeout issue may have been a problem for the Tigers. We saw them call 3 early timeouts in the first half. They only have 1 left, but Homestead dominating on all facets of the game. The only place where they aren't is the turnovers, but other than that, they've controlled every aspect of this game.
Fisher's continuing to come back in the rebounding game. It's a good look for the future. But right now, while thinking about the future, it looks good for Homestead, knowing that if they get to regionals, Fishers, if they beat Noblesville, could be Homestead's toughest opponent. And right now, I'd say Homestead's handling Fishers pretty well.
And I think that's what Homestead's going to hope for. They would like to not meet Noblesville, but also it'd be a great revenge game for the Spartans, losing by so much, having Noblesville come here to Fort Wayne and losing that game. We've heard Ayanna Patterson talk about revenge a lot this year. Started off with the season against Carmel last year, losing by 30+. This year, winning by 30+. Then the SAC, she said they want to win it this year after not winning last year.
The SAC, there's going to be a couple big games as Patterson gets another block, but Fishers keeps the offensive possession with another offensive rebound. Fisher has come into the game. Grace Fisher off the bench. Down low, layup and in for Morgan Roberts. She's up to 7 points this morning. She averages only 3.1 points per game. That total will very much go up. Ball on the ground and a jump ball called. And now substitutions will come in. Ayanna Patterson will leave the game with 23 points. Emma Royce leaves with 3. And Molly Stock leaves with 13 points.
And the typical players coming in, those more rotational players getting more playing time for the bench. And it's going to be important today. You may not have seen Coach Barker sub in them 16-point lead with that, but there's another game to be played today. They've got this one in the bag already, and they've got to focus on Hamilton Southeastern next.
Hillary Adams takes a 3, no good. It's going to take a little bit of resting time, but the next game against Hamilton Southeastern here at home won't be for a couple of hours. So a lot of resting time, not too much to worry about for the Lady Spartans. Drink some water, hydrate, and be ready for game 2. Sydney Freem trapped outside of Claire Landergan. Over to Hillary Adams, back to Landergan. Homestead running off the clock, 35 seconds left in the game. Bottoms, open, 3. No good, and rebounded by Alicia Triplett. And a push off is going to be called on Evie. Bottoms possession stays with Fishers for the last 20 seconds.
And a good sign for the Spartans today is they did a really good job staying out of foul trouble. It could have been a different game, but Evie Bottoms has one of the most fouls. Her and Maggie Kinsley both had 2 in this one. Other than that, nobody really had too many fouls. Everyone else had 1 or 0, so Coach Parker's got to love the way his team played clean overall.
Sydney Freem will hold on to the basketball for the final seconds of the game, and Homestead will get a big win, 51-35. Great win for the Lady Spartans.
And the Spartans dominated on all aspects of the game. They led in the rebounding. They shot so much better offensively and defensively. They controlled the pace, and everything was going well for the Spartans.
Homestead collectively just played a really, really good game of basketball. And we're going to set it down to our sideline reporter, Jenna Lane, who's standing by with the player of the game, Ayanna Patterson.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm here with Ayanna Patterson. And Ayanna, big win today over one of the best teams in the state. What was Homestead able to do today to finally get Fishers off their game?
Oh, we just got a quick start. We got to moving the ball, and they just couldn't get back in defensive transition. So we knew we could run the floor and get early ups, and that's what got us in the lead, and that's what we kept doing.
During this 7-game winning streak, you've really increased your assist numbers, finding open teammates for wide open shots. How confident are you in your teammates right now?
I'm 100% confident in all of them to get the job done. I mean, they're able to knock down shots anywhere on the floor, and they just have ultimate confidence when it's going in the net, and it just helps us as a team.
We saw a special guest in the crowd today. Your future college coach got a chance to watch you play. What was it like playing with Gino in the crowd?
I mean, it felt great for him to finally get to see me in person. I mean, last year he didn't get to come to any games, so it just feels great to actually see him in person at one of my games. So, it feels really great.
And another big one later today with Hamilton Southeastern. What did the Spartans do in between games to get rested up for that one?
Of course, just stay off our legs and read our scouting report and get prepared for them. I mean, they're a really great team, and so we're excited to play this next game.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anthony, back to you.
Well, that next game is going to be very big, and it's going to take a little bit of resting to get prepared. But Hamilton Southeastern will have to do the same as they are off at Carroll right now.
And Fishers is arguably the better team, so that's a good sign for Homestead. Fishers number 9, and Hamilton Southeastern number 12 in the state. And then Homestead, of course, is number 3. So it's a good sign for the Spartans going into the next game after such a dominant win.
And we'll take a look at the final stats of the game. Homestead completely dominated this one, 47% from the field, struggled late in the game, but it didn't really matter as they had the 51-33 win. Fishers couldn't get any shooting, and a lot of it was thanks to the intense defense by Homestead.
And it was really the story of the game, not being able to hit a shot for Fishers. That's what killed them throughout this whole game. They had so many open shots. They were 5 of 12, 3 minutes left in the second quarter, and then went 1 of their last 11 from behind the arc, and their field goal percentage just killed them in this one. 22%. You can never win a game when you're shooting that poorly.
And Homestead, and when the other team is shooting better than you from the field, from the three-point line, and from the free throw line, you're not going to win a game. It comes down to the fundamentals of shooting the basketball, and Homestead was able to walk out of here with a pretty good win.
And it really was showing how good their defense was in this one. They played so well, not allowing the Smith sisters to do anything.
And with that, we're going to wrap out today's live stream. Thank you for watching the first game of the quadruple header. The final score, 51-33. On behalf of the Homestead Live crew, including producer Caleb Wood, switcher Trevor Newhouse, our 4 camera operators, sideline reporters Jenna and Dahouk, and color commentator Noah Lancz, I'm Anthony Gery saying goodbye for now. Don't go away, as the boys basketball broadcast will start in about 10 minutes, and the girls crew will be back for the third game in just a few hours.
What limits you? Too small, too old, insecure, broken. You have no limits. Rethink your limits.